All right, now we're on to the property addresses. I hope by now you guys can see that this has been pretty simple process. We're not looking for tons of complicated information. We just need the basics so we can fill out this property management agreement, get you signed up so we can professionally manage your properties. So here we go. If you only had one property and was a single family home, this is what the screen that you should be looking at. If you had multiple properties, this is what your screen looks like. Okay, so we're going to start if you only had one property. Really simple. You fill it out. I'm going to go ahead and use our office address here. There you go. Now it'll fill the rest of it in for me. Oh, zip code I didn't get. Better get that zip code. That's the most important one. Then just tell me if it is occupied or not. I'm going to say it is, and I can go on to the next step. For you single family people, you can stop watching the video and move on to the next step. Okay, for you guys that have more than one property, this is a little bit more involved, so I want to take just a couple minutes and make sure that we understand how to fill this out. You guys can trick the system, come down here and just click this and move on to the next step. However, I highly recommend you don't do that because that would invalidate the agreement you're about to sign up with, and we'll have to do this all over again. So we don't want to do that. All right, so don't trick the system is what I'm saying. So if you remember earlier, we said you had 3 properties, 2 of them were single families and 1 was a 2 unit. So let's start with the pretend 2 unit. I'm just going to call it 123 Main Street here in St. Charles, Missouri, zip code 63303, and that was 2 units. So 2 units. Now, what's the occupancy status? If they're all occupied, just put occupied. If they're all vacant, just put vacant. If one's occupied, put some units occupied, and you're done. That's really just for our information. Excuse me. That's really just for our information. And then to put your next unit in, you click this little plus button, and then it comes up again. And so now let's just call it 26 Anywhere Street. Let's say it's in St. Louis, 135, and it was a single family because we said 2 single families and 1 duplex. This one I'm going to say is occupied, so I'm just going to leave that like that, and then we'll click the plus button, so we'll get our line for our third and last unit. Let's call this 45 Broadway, and we'll say that's also in St. Louis. And that's a single family as well. And this one we're going to say is vacant. All right, now you're done. Now you can come down here and click this. Click when you're done entering all your property addresses, and then you can move on to the next step, which is the lead-based paint form. So that's all there is to it. If you have multiple properties, please fill in all these columns because we do need all that information. And if you trick the system and don't do it, then our contract won't be valid, and we'll have to reach out to you and ask you to do it again. So please, 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 please fill all these in, and let us know what the occupancy status is. And then when we reach out to you in the next day or so, we'll gather more information about your occupied units. All right, we'll see you at the next video.